What the Infinity War is a bit of an odd animal to try and talk about in a simple review format. It's not really because it's complex or anything, but just because it's not really an entire movie. It's more of an event. This is a movie that they've been building up since 2012, and it's a fantastic payoff of 6 years of proper build-up and development. Take notes, you fucking hacks. The movie focuses on Thanos' arrival on Earth in his search for the Infinity Stones, and the Avengers, who are torn apart after the events in Civil War, but not really because the ending was a huge cop-out, who now have to band together and stop him before he unleashes the apocalypse, basically. The film focuses on this quest that these three teams of superheroes go through, and you'd think that the movie would feel a bit cramped or unfocused, but much to my surprise, it was actually able to juggle these plot threads pretty well and at a pretty reasonable pace. Which is also a surprise considering how this movie is 2.5 hours long and I barely felt it go by. The cast in this movie is solid as usual, but the standout performance and character in this has gotta go to Thanos. As much as I really like the series, I'm one of those people who think that the MCU just have some really weak villains whose motivation is just kinda I wanna take over the world because why not? Which is why I tend to love villains like Killmonger, Zemo, and the Vulture, who are yeah, they're bad, but they're sympathetic, and you can sort of see where they're coming from. And in fact, I was expecting Thanos to be one of those guys who just wanted to conquer Earth because what else can you do? But they actually managed to make him a badass and intimidating character. Seriously, Thanos does not fuck around in this movie. However, because of his ties with more in the franchise, they also managed to make him really sympathetic, leading to probably the most gut-wrenching scene in the entire movie. It says a lot. I honestly don't think I've seen a more intimidating villain since the Joker from The Dark Knight. Pretty sure that's not a nuclear take. Not to mention, we get a fantastic performance from Josh Brolin here, and fantastic VFX. Speaking of which, Warner Bros. For future reference, this is what a $300 million film looks like. The visuals in general for this film are actually really impressive. You get some really impressive VFX work, especially on Thanos. We get a really nice color palette compared to the director's previous works. And we actually get some really playful camera work. There's one scene in here where we see Nebula captured by Thanos and his children, and she's in this tractor beam floating on her stomach. And you think that she's all in one piece, but that's the camera sort of pans to the side, she's in pieces. I don't know, I guess I just have a soft spot for those kinds of shots. There's also another really good camera trick with the ending that I love, but honestly, the ending is just part of a whole nother video in itself. And depending on which video you click, you should be getting into that part now, actually. I guess not. Anyhow, the one problem that I had with the movie, and it is a legit problem, is that the dialogue was... In fact, the script in general was just really weak, especially in the first act. Iron Man had some really weak lines, a lot of the jokes sort of fell flat. There were some really poorly written lines in general. And again, with the humor, it's one of the problems that I had with the humor in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, where the jokes run on for way too long. You may have seen it in one of the promos where Star-Lord is imitating Thor's accent, trying to make his voice deeper and sound more epic, I guess. And it doesn't work as well because they just keep the joke running and running, and it's okay, God, we get it. I think all the worst dialogue comes from Vision and Scarlet Witch. The dialogue between those two, I'm sorry, it was really fucking bad. I feel you, dude. That shouldn't be coming from a Marvel movie, that should be coming from a Creed or a Nickelback song. Regardless though, that surprisingly didn't hurt my enjoyment of this film that much. This is honestly the first Avengers movie that really completely exceeded my expectations, with an excellent villain, great visuals, great action, and an ending that you will not be ready for. Trust me, you won't. I say this because I thought I was going to be ready for that ending, and when it came along, I was a wreck. You're not ready for it. Now, with Avengers 4, or really Infinity War Part 2, I don't think I've ever been more, excited for a Marvel movie. Not even with Civil War, and not even with Black Panther. Where could they take it, you know? How is all of this gonna, resolve in the end? Either way, I have confidence in one thing. Captain America is fucking toast.